Thank you very much for tuning in. Here is the recording for the cosmic week ahead from December 1st to December 7th. And this is the final month of 2025 according to the Gregorian calendar system. And this is a choice point, decision making point. And then, even though this is still the first week of December, this week holds a very strong energy of culmination because of the full moon that is taking place on the 4th of December at 13 degrees of Gemini, which is creating a grand mutable cross with the dragon head and dragon tail, the North Node and South Node. And then I feel like this is kind of us making a choice, standing on a crossroad, mutable energy, including Gemini, Sag, Virgo, Pisces. Those are the energies of change. It's the mutation. It is the endings, releasing. All are the signs that symbolizes the end of a season. So we are being asked to make some kind of an important decision on which path that we are taking, right? And if we want to take a path to move through a portal into a new timeline, certain things we cannot carry, right? Old versions of ourselves, old perceptions, ideas, and beliefs, and all the ways of being and living and doing things and thinking and feeling. Certain old patterns of attachments have to be released and let go so that we can make ourselves lighter to step into the portal of ascension, right? Because that attachment only keeps us and stuck in the old timeline based on the past. And this is the first week we are being asked to crack our mind open, blow our mind, and create space so we can receive this new ideas, new layers of clarity that wants to come up from our own inner depths. It's not coming anywhere from outside. It's coming from our depths. First highlight of this week, full moon in Gemini. I mean, on a December 2nd, Venus sextiles Pluto, and then our value system has been shifting so much, right? It's been through the depths of the Scorpio season. A lot has stirred so much in our psychic depth, but I think something got revealed. Some kind of a truth got revealed, and that is like, okay, this is important for me, this is not, right? This energy feels good to me, this doesn't, right? It's a choice making point in relation to everything, relationship to people, work, what we do, how we live. Everything is kind of on a plate for it's not judgment, but we gotta make some kind of a choice. And it's not a time to keep on doing things just because we feel like we should. No, this is the time that we are choosing. I'm just keeping certain relationship that feels very genuine and fluid and good, energetic exchange happening, and then I feel valued. I value, like the value exchange. It's that Venus Pluto thing. We are being asked to evaluate everything in a way, I think, because everything is shifting so much now and into the early next year, right? This is the very fiery month. Sagittarius is the mutable fire. Next year, Saturn moves into Aries fire. Neptune moves into Aries fire. Neptune goes direct next week on December 10th. Mercury finally goes back into Sagittarius next week, December 11th. So fire is returning back, and fire is the energetic archetype of the fire horse year that we are moving into in the lunar calendar next year. So this is the month that we are coming out of the muddiness of the Scorpio water energy, but through mud, the lotus blossoms. And now our true fire, the fire of ambition and fire of truth, got ignited back within. And now we are ready to aim toward a new horizon, the brand new space that we haven't explored yet. I feel like we are ready to knock on this new door, to open up a new path into the new unknown. I think that's kind of an overall theme of December. But this week, again, first, right, big full moon in Gemini, Mercury ruled very mental driven full moon, but full moon, it's a super moon, so there is gonna be an illumination happening in a mental field. And then I think this higher truth and clarity comes from our own depth, being lit by our own inner source of fire, the inner sun, right? Immortal eternal essence is radiating now to burn some old stuff, some illusionary stuff that don't serve our higher purpose. It has to be burned so that we can adventure into the new life, new chapter, new self, new everything, right? New everything is waiting in a 2026, and we must make a right decision in a way now to release what's dead, and so that we can birth something new. Creating space is important, and this is the full moon to go into the inner quiet, to speak to the inner guru, the inner teacher, inner God that sits in the inner stillness, that sits in the inner silence, right? This is the time to go in with the curious mind, right? Not going with the curious mind into the random noise that's coming from outside, but using our curious mind, we seek to journey inward, to face and sit with our own inner guru that sits in the eternal now, in that timeless space of now. That's this Sag, Sun, Moon, Gemini, full moon, 13 degrees, death card in tarot degrees again. This next new moons, few next new moons, gonna continue to happen at 13 degrees. It's the transformation number. And then after that full moon, there is another culmination point. Mercury is coming back to the late degrees of Scorpio to finalize the grand water trine energy. We've been under this beautiful mystic water grand trine since the end of October. That was when Mars was still in Scorpio, and then Mercury was there at the end of October, moving through that final degrees of Scorpio, aligning with Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And then Mars has moved on. Mars is now in Sag, mid degrees, right? And then Venus moved through that, Mercury moved through that and went back to 20 degrees of Scorpio. Now Mercury is back in direct motion, and for the final third time, Mercury is crossing over that final degrees of Scorpio. Mercury come to in perfect trine with Jupiter on December 6th, and then on the 7th Mercury will trine Saturn at 25 degrees of Pisces, and that Mercury will be 25, Jupiter is at 24. And then the on the 7th, when the Mercury creates that beautiful grand trine, I mean, the 6th and 7th, 5th, 6th, 7th, this energy we're gonna feel, right? It doesn't have to be the exact day to experience this energy. So we are going to be under this final, beautiful, mystic trine, threading the energy, spiritual energy of Jupiter in Cancer, the Saturn, Neptune, Pisces, mystic, creative, intuitive energies together with Mercury moving through the dense Mercury retrograde time. Now Mercury has a message to share with us. From the depth, Mercury rises and shares the deeper truth with us, and now we can hear, now we can see, now we can perceive, and maybe this is the final water grand trine that is shifting our perception, shifting the way that we deal with stress, the way that we deal with life. It can shift completely because we change our mind. We get so easily stuck, can get easily so stuck, and it feels it's hard to break free. But again and again, I say this time to time, but mind is more malleable than we think. The deeper that we commit to connect to our own spirit, where our superpower lies, it can, our spirit can do anything, right? And it can shift anything. So this is the final culmination point of this grand water trine journey for the past few months. I mean, a month and a half. And this energy is not gonna come back for a long time. I mean, next year in the Scorpio season, or even in a Cancer season, there is not going to be Neptune. Neptune is not going to be in Pisces no more. Saturn is not going to be in Pisces no more. Jupiter will be in Cancer until early summer, but it's not going to create this grand water trine. So this is the final moment we want to tap in to our own inner water, the deep mystic ocean of divinity within, to be receptive, to hold faith, to trust, and to flow, and to create, to channel, to be the channel for the unseeable realm of reality, and trust that reality, trust God over, I'm not saying God as Jesus or Allah or one thing. I'm saying God in everything, and God within the unseeable realm of reality, as well as God within, right? I believe separation is an illusion. Unity is God consciousness. And so this is the moment that we choose to unite with the God within, with the cosmos within, with the immortal, eternal essence of Purusha, Brahma within, right? It's like no more seeking something outside. Choose to align within. Right? And the star card, this is the beautiful card that I feel yes to the star card for this week ahead. Star card reminds us that we are whole and complete. She reminds us we don't have anything, we don't need to hide anything. She doesn't hide herself with clothes even. She comes after the number 16, the Tower card, after the chaos, after the things being shaken up by God's lightning hitting the tower, tower representing our attachments and some higher force of energy crumbling that attachment, and we may go into panic, we may feel uncomfortable, but the card, that card, tower card is all about ascension and attainment. After the crumbling of the tower, that the star card appears, it represents the energy of healing that comes out of the understanding that the attachment itself was an illusion, because we were whole and complete as is. There was no need to feel attached to anything. There was no need to prove anything. There was no need to get to any kind of an attainment. There was no need to push and try and grasp and seek for anything even. We had everything already. That kind of understanding and realization is the star card, and the healing comes from that understanding of, whoa, I was that cosmic source. 8-pointed star represents the illumination of the cosmos, and number 17, it's the 8, right? 8 is the number of transformation and infinity. And she holds 2 pictures, and one of the teachings says like she is pouring water out of her vessel, and it never ends because her vessels contain infinite amount of this mystic magic. That's the element of water. So just she pours, just endlessly she pours. She gives, she nourishes, and she offers, and there is no sense of luck, there is no sense of out of balanceness, because she is in balance with the eternity of the cosmos, and she represents cosmos itself. She represents freedom, because she realizes that she is the one. She is the Neo archetype. She is the, because Tower card is like the glitches in the matrix, and the Tower card breaks us free from the matrix, and now she realizes that she is the one. She is the cosmos, and she returns back to that unity consciousness, and she just pours out from her heart, and then she just follows the song that comes from her heart, and she gives, and she heals, and she offers her love, that supreme love, the unconditional love, ultimate love. This is the week we want to remember back that and be guided by that kind of love. I believe, I guess, those cars, beautiful cars of love, beautiful cars of healing, beautiful cars of joy and happiness. Unconditional. I'm not saying, if we think, if I had this, I'll be happier, that's an illusion that we have to drop, right? Because it's an illusion. And then through that, the back of the deck, the Tower card, we are ending one chapter. So whatever energy that is not aligning with this sense of wholeness, this sense of like blissful, supreme type of love, divine love, And then if there is any kind of energy of resistance in any field of our lives, it's not about just releasing and ending and pushing that away, because that action of pushing away can create more resistance. But then maybe how can we turn that resistance back into this love, back into this gratitude, back into this fulfillment, this kind of like, yes, I've gone through whole years, the past few years, to get to here, and I feel free. That is the energy that we want to tap into. Next week, Mars comes to square Saturn, and that's the final quarter square with the Saturn. And it's not an easy energy, but it is the final kind of a battlefield moment between those two planets. Their synodic cycle started in the springtime of 2024, and then they're gonna come back together. Mars, Saturn come together to start a new cycle in April of 2026. But this is gonna be the final cutting the cord, releasing what no longer serves moment between that Mars and Saturn. Those are two malefic planets, so it's not an easy energy when they come to square. But this can be a really powerful moment of final dissolution, like cord cutting, dissolving all the aspects of the self, so that we can die, so we can burn ourselves, burn all the aspects of the self, so that we can rise from our own ashes. I use that metaphor a lot because I like that alchemical mutation description a lot. But we rise again and again and again and again, again and again and again and again, right? That's what we came here on earth to do, to grow, to expand, to evolve, and to enjoy this journey called life. And one last thing that I wanted to say was that on this final moment when Mercury comes to the grand trine, Mercury activate this grand water trine, then the moon will be with Jupiter in Cancer after this Gemini full moon, and the moon at home in Cancer will be with Jupiter and creating this beautiful mystic water trine over this weekend. So there can be a lot of healing energy. This star card is really it says it all about this final grand water moment. We can heal, we can release, we can let go, and we can turn all the desperation into gratitude. Even we can choose to turn pain into strength and honor ourselves, and we embrace our strength, and we come to this very receptive queen, right? Free, receptive queen who represents this freedom and wholeness. And that's where we want to tune in and tap into over this week. A lot of healing energy. But in order for us to heal, we gotta face the full moon and release. A lot can come up, but we have to keep reminding ourselves that everything that comes up is a part of the process of healing, and we need to go through that in order to find our true sovereignty and true reverence. I don't know if that reverence is a good word, but like unwavering love, that the star card represents. May we be that star. May we be that radiant star shining within this eternal void, just radiating in bliss, in bliss, in love. Yes. Thank you so much for listening. Have a beautiful week. Peace.